Okay, this is my UFC prediction video. Not going to mess with anything other than the main card. I'm only going to cover the main card for this prediction video. So we're going to start with Anthony Johnson versus Yoshida. I think Johnson has the edge in athleticism. I think he has the edge in overall speed and power. But I would say overall grappling technique goes to Yoshida. I say the longer the fight goes, the more frantic the pace. I think that's when the experience of Yoshida, is going to come into play. But I think Anthony Johnson is going to be able to finish Yoshida second round TKO. The next fight is a lightweight bout between Joe Stevenson and Spencer Kingfisher. Spencer Fisher's kind of been on a rise and a fall. He'll win a fight, lose a fight, be at the edge, do a title shot, then lose. And Joe Stevenson's kind of always been a mainstay. The exception to the fight with BJ Penn where he didn't look so great. He's always looked, that gives you kind of the fight with Kenny Florian also. But other than those two fights, he's always looked somewhat game. And I think Joe Stevenson's going to be able to put him away probably with one of the flashy guillotine chokes. Lightweight bout, Gleason T versus Josh Neer, and Josh Neer should win. Gleason T bout, as big and strong as he is, has yet to prove himself to be a top lightweight in the UFC. The next fight is part of the co-main event, Cain Velasquez versus Ben Rothwell. In this fight, I believe that Ben Rothwell is honestly going to be able to defeat Cain Velasquez. I think Cain Velasquez, in his fight with Chet Congo, answered a lot of questions about where he was at, but also posed a couple more questions, like, one, can he finish a fighter with a good enough chin that he can't necessarily ground and pound and knock unconscious? It also showed holes in his striking against one of the top-level strikers in the heavyweight division in the UFC. But I think Ben Rothwell is well-rounded enough, big enough, strong enough, even skilled enough to be able to stay out of Cain Velasquez's wrestling, stop that, neutralize that, and his size is going to be able to stop Cain. And I think unless Cain shows some new tools or has improved a lot from his fight with Congo, I honestly think Ben Rothwell is going to be able to put Velasquez away or get a decision. But, there's always a chance, Cain could outwork him. But realistically in this fight, I think Cain Velasquez is going to lose his first loss in the UFC, get his first loss. And I think that Ben Rothwell is going to establish himself as a top heavyweight in the UFC. Next fight in the card is the main event, is Lyoto Machida versus Shogun Rua. This is probably stylistically the most interesting fight, at least in the light heavyweight division in UFC history for a title, I would say. Machida, his Machida karate, his evasive, not elusive, but evasive style of fighting, kind of dashes in, dashes out, stays away from trouble, has really good takedown defense we've seen, and knockout power. In his fight with Shad Evans, he has a very frantic pace, and it's almost as if you can't completely do your game plan without paying attention to his, you're doomed to fail. And you have Shogun Rua. What can I say about Shogun? Probably the second or third most famous fighter from the Pride Fighting Championships. Touted as probably the greatest light heavyweight in the world at one point, circa 2004, 2005. Had a rough road in the UFC. His first fight in UFC against Forrest Griffin, we all know what happened in that fight. He gassed out, but he also had an injury in that fight. Was outworked by Forrest Griffin and submitted in the third round. His next fight was against Mark Coleman, I believe. Yeah, it was Mark Coleman. He won that fight, but he didn't look great. He gassed very early on in the fight. Technique looked okay, but, just coming off of a knee surgery and having to fight, so much time off, it can really hit your performance. And his fight against Chuck Liddell, probably his most overrated fight ever. The fact is that, people want to believe and say Shogun's cardio looked good in that fight. It only went one round. Shogun has looked good in the first round of all of his fights. So we're still yet to see if Shogun really is back yet. And I think this fight's going to really show us how good Shogun Rua really is, if he can, solve the puzzle of Lyoto Machida. I think Lyoto Machida, honestly, is going to win this fight. If you look at his history in the UFC, I said a couple of fights. The fights, I guess the really important fights were his last two fights. This is the last three. The one against Ortiz really showed how he does against a top contender. He showed pretty much his wide range of weapons, his knees, kicks, even his hands. His hand speed is really exceptional. His fight against Thiago Silva showed that he can finish someone, showed he has the ability to finish a top-level fighter with a good chin, stop them in the first round in impressive fashion. And, of course, his fight against Shad Evans, where he beat Evans in the second round for the World Championship, UFC light heavyweight belt. I think the longer the fight goes, the more it's going to be in the favor of Lyoto Machida. as you've seen, his face isn't very, the pace that Machida presents isn't very fast. It's more of a relaxed pace at his speed. Doesn't really push his cardio or the opponent's cardio really. He seems to be in pretty good control in the octagon at all times. Doesn't ever seem to be in any real trouble. The only trouble we've seen him in at all was when Ortiz nearly got him in a triangle choke. But he got out of that, survived that fight. His ground game, haven't seen very much of it, but you can really see him from the Gare brothers. It's top notch. I've also seen his submission grappling videos. He's very skilled on the ground. Maybe even close to as good as he is on the feet, to be honest. Yeah, that's Machida. I think the way the fight's going to go is the longer the fight plays out, the more it's going to be in Machida's favor, because the cardio of Shogun Rua is still untested at this point. I don't know how good his cardio is. Shogun Rua. I think if Shogun's going to win, it's going to come in the first round by knockout. I can't see him winning any other way. But this could probably be the most exciting fight in the light heavyweight division we've ever seen, as far as, especially for a title shot. They're going to see two guys that are going to stand. Probably not very much groundwork in this fight, if any, unless Shogun gets hurt. I don't see Machida going for a takedown of any sort. It's going to be a really exciting fight. And I honestly think Machida is going to be able to put Shogun Rua away in the second, third, not even maybe in the first round. But I'm going with Machida to win this fight by whatever he wants in the first round. That's my prediction for this fight. Leave comments, constructive or negative, or whatever you feel about the video. And even post your video responses. And let me know what you think about the video. Put your responses, your predictions. And that's it.